you're a teacher, you ought to tell stories. So I said, well, you know, she mentioned a thing or two, but I just happened to have this book in the car. And
we don't even have it in the library.
They don't have it in the library yet, but they are going to get it, and I'm going to relate this back to Coffeeville. My name is Lisa Moss. I was raised and still live in West Bend, Alabama. Most of you know where West Bend is. And when I was young, there was not a lot to do in West Bend. If you weren't working in the garden or working in the house, there was not a lot to do. And I was an only child, so I didn't have a lot of people to play with. And my mother told me, said, you know, there's a lady down the road that you really should go talk to. Said, she's the most interesting lady you've ever met. And she owned a little grocery store down there. Her name was Miss Jenny Thornton. Some of you may remember Miss Jenny. So I would ride my bicycle down every day, and there was not a lot of people who came by the store, so we would sit and we would talk. We played Chinese checkers also. If any of you know how to play Chinese checkers, we had some really good games of Chinese checkers. But what I enjoyed the most was she would tell me stories about when she was young. So first, I want to encourage all of you younger ones who are here, and even those of you who are on up in age by age or whatever, if you have someone that you can talk to that's older, or that you can just sit down on the porch, as she was saying a while ago, and listen to some of the stories they tell. You need to listen to that, because you never know when it's going to come up again, and you never know what you're going to learn. I'm a firm believer in learning about the past, because I believe that all the things that you can learn from the past, you might get a chance to use in the future. Well, I would go down and talk to Miss Jenny, and she would tell me stories. And one day she told me a story about steamboats. And this was a story that was near and dear to her heart, because she was on this steamboat. And when she was on this steamboat, it blew up. Now, not everyone on the steamboat was killed, but her father, who was escorting her back from Mobile on a trip where they had been, he was killed on this steamboat. And as she told me the story about the steamboat, she said, you know, there's a ghost story about the steamboat. And I said, a ghost story? She said, yes, it was. She said it was even in the Mobile Press Register about the fact that people thought they could see ghosts on the steamboat before it blew up. Well, I wasn't so sure about that. I was about 13 and I was getting scared. So she told me the story. She said, I even have the clipping because my father passed away in that, and I'm going to bring it and show it to you. So she did. And she told me the story about the steamboat and all that happened on the boat, and how she got off, how one of the young dashing officers that was on the boat carried some of the ladies off. You know, as it began to sink, it came closer to the shore, so they didn't want to get their dresses wet, so the officers would pick them up and carry them to shore. And most of the ones who were not injured did get off the boat safely. Well, several years later, to my surprise, I always loved to read, I picked up a Kathryn Windham book. Jeffrey's latest 13, More Alabama Ghosts. Now, this is not her first one. Her first one was called 13 Alabama Ghosts. But this was one of her next ones that she wrote. And as I looked through, I found the story, the James T. Staples doomed steamboat of the Tombigbee River. Now, this tells a pretty accurate story of what happened on the James T. Staples, the very steamboat that Miss Jenny was on when she was young. Back then, she was Miss Jenny Scruggs. And it talks all about the fact that the owner of the steamboat had fallen on hard times, and he had to sell his steamboat. And it just broke his heart, and he committed suicide. And several weeks later, on a trip from Mobile up through here, the boat stopped at the Coffeeville Landing. And many of the people who worked in the steam boilers below decks got off the boat and refused to get back on. They said that they had seen the ghost of the owner of the ship.